Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the From the Stands podcast. We are back after another short hiatus due to some technical difficulty as per usual. But anyway, episode number 93 on this February 10th, a couple days after the big Super Bowl. We do apologize for not having a preview episode. Definitely missed opportunity on our part there. But Fezzy boy, tell the people what we got coming up and maybe what's been going down the last week and a half, and tell us about your Super Bowl party.
Yeah, other than the technical difficulties that you alluded to, my laptop literally bit the dust. It hasn't even turned on the last 3 days. So
Rip.
that's where we're at. But like Sam said, we have a great episode for you guys. Before we dive into what we're going to be talking about, if you guys could like and subscribe on YouTube, follow and rate on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, that would help us out a ton. Like Sam said, we're going to recap the Super Bowl since we weren't able to get a Super Bowl preview in. But we'll dive into the Super Bowl and the aftermath of that. We'll talk some NFL honors with MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, and all those different awards. And then we'll hop over the pond, talk a little Premier League and Serie A, with a big game in the Premier League going down this past Sunday, which got more views than the Super Bowl
ratings.
People.
Yeah.
Big time ratings, the world sport. But yeah, had a good time watching the Super Bowl this past weekend. Unfortunately, our house has been super sick the past few days. I had not been feeling well either, so we didn't do much. My sister and her friend came over and they hung out with Owen and stuff like that. But we just got some pizza, watched the game, a successful hate watch, as Sam texted me the other day. And really, it's been a great 2 years of successful hate watches, because last year we got to watch the Eagles dominate the Chiefs. So that was a fun Super Bowl to watch. But how was your Super Bowl weekend, Sam? And what'd you guys do?
Yeah, it was great. We actually ended up hosting, invited a bunch of people from our youth group, like the leaders, over. So we had about 15 people at our house or so. So it was a full living room there. Bentley did great. Was loving all the attention from all the people, and there's a couple kids running around, and he loved playing with them. So he's been a tired boy the last couple of days, so it's always
nice.
Good. But no, it was a great time. Great food, dude. Like, I was talking to some of the people there. It's like, I feel like the Super Bowl is, like, as far as food goes, second to only Thanksgiving, because
Facts.
the Super Bowl party food, bro, top notch.
Right.
So, like I said, a lot of good food, good vibes, great game. Just, yeah, all around good stuff. Halftime show, maybe not quite as much, but we're not here to talk about that. So,
yeah, we didn't watch that. I put Owen to bed during it, and so I don't even think we had it on. I think Taylor switched to something or whatever. But yeah, it was a great Super Bowl. A little boring, but boring for all the right reasons. But I totally agree with that. If you have a true Super Bowl spread, dude, its only rival is Thanksgiving, like you said, one of those major holidays, and the food that you have out and just the friends and the vibes, dude. A good Super Bowl party is where it's at. Really should be a national holiday, in my opinion. It's a shame that it's not.
Dude, that's the worst part, when everybody's gone home, or you get home and you realize that you have to go to work the next day, is the stupidest,
the worst,
dumbest feeling, that you're just why is this a thing? I saw a lot of people online, the Twitter sphere, saying it should be on a Saturday, which I don't agree with. I just think that they need to give us that next day off. But anyway, I digress.
They really should. I know Goodell talked about because obviously they're going to keep adding games until it's annoying. But I think, I'm not sure if we added one more or two more, but it would stretch it out to the point that I think the Super Bowl would always end up on the Monday we would have off because of a holiday. I don't even know which one it is.
President's Day is next week, so
it would be that. It would be that President's Day. And I guess, I obviously don't get that off, but I think kids from school and different people get that holiday off. So I mean, that would work out. Just move the Super Bowl to that day, and then we'd have President's Day, and everyone can get it off.
We're gonna have a big conundrum next year, because I don't know if you've heard, but it's on Valentine's Day next year.
It is.
So a lot of guys are going to be having some tough convos with their misses.
Yeah. How
over
do you
what's
think
going to
that's
be
gonna
going
go?
down. But
How's that gonna go with Joy? I know for me, like my wife could give two hoots about sports, so she's really gonna be like she's gonna be like, what are we doing? It's Valentine's Day, so I can see myself having a tougher discussion when it comes to what we're gonna do on that day. But how's Joy with that stuff?
honestly, she's probably going to be pretty flexible. Usually she's pretty good about like, the surrounding 2 or 3 days, like being flexible with that kind of stuff. Because she's
Okay.
had like this past year, she had something on her birthday, so we did something the day before and things like
Oh,
that. So
nice.
and I mean, she understands that Super Bowl's, basically a national holiday as well, and it's a big party
Basically,
thing.
yeah,
So I think she'll probably be
yeah,
cool with it. So
yeah,
we
yeah.
honestly haven't done huge like Valentine's Day stuff as long
Hmm.
as we've been married. Like we do stuff for each other, but it's not like, all right, we got an expensive dinner and do all this stuff. So it'll
Right,
probably
right.
be fine. So
Yeah, I'll just have to take Taylor out to dinner the day before or after, something like that, make up for that. But
maybe if I sell the fact that, if we host again, we'll make it like Valentine's Day themed.
there we go.
Boom,
Boom.
done.
Sam's thinking with his noggin, guys. Sam's thinking with his noggin. But
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah,
We'll see.
obviously that's next year, but we're gonna dive into the Super Bowl that just happened this past weekend, right now.
Righty, let's break down the biggest game of the NFL season. Really, the biggest game of the entirety of the American sports landscape, if you will.
True.
Patriots Seahawks. Even though we didn't get into the preview of this game last week, unfortunately, we're going to give you guys a pretty good rundown of the game. Seahawks coming away with the Super Bowl dub, getting another ring, another Lombardi in the 12th man arena up there in Seattle, beating the Patriots 29-13. Really wasn't a game from the beginning. Seahawks coming down in dominant fashion. Several field goals early on, but their defense was just no match for the Patriots. Really in the first half and even the second half, despite the garbage time points at the end there. I guess before we dive into some of the statistics and talking points, I'll get your opinion, Fezzy Boy, on the game as a whole.
I mean, I love that first half. I was super stoked. I was a little worried though because it was kind of the game that the Patriots wanted, to keep it close, just keep them to field goals because Seattle was really not doing like a whole lot once they got past half field. Um, the Patriots defense is actually really, really good. I think it was a little better than even I thought it was coming into the game.
Mm,
Not saying that Seattle's offense is like world beating or anything. I mean, they've beaten some really, really, really good teams, but I think like you could say the Rams offense is definitely better than the Seattle offense. But yeah, kind of surprising to see the game the way it went. I mean, Seattle's kicker literally kicked 5 field goals and broke an NFL Super Bowl record. And
yeah.
some were saying that he kind of got snubbed from MVP. I said that jokingly to you, like I texted you. I was like, dude, low key, this kicker getting MVP. Like,
Dude, our party
but
over here was dead set on it until like
yeah,
basically the last touchdown. Because if he
uh
would have had
huh.
all the points, like, I mean, how could you not
Mm-hmm.
give it to him?
Right. And that one touchdown that Kenneth Walker had called back, like if that stood, then like obviously I'm like, all right, give it to Kenneth Walker.
Mm,
And I understand like 27 carries, 135 yards against a really good Patriots defense. And like he was really the only really I can't say the only ounce of offense that Seattle had, but he was definitely a majority of it.
yeah.
Because I mean Sam didn't have like this crazy like it wasn't the Rams game that Sam Darnold played where he was slinging the ball around and he was going blow for blow with Matthew Stafford, but Sam did what he had to keep the game out of reach for the Patriots and ended up coming away with a dub and fulfilling that comeback arc that everyone's been talking about the last few days.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the thing I was impressed with the most with the Seahawks, kind of what you were saying, I was a little bit nervous that the Seahawks just kept getting field goals when they were down there. But honestly,
Right.
I was happy that they were just kicking the field goals because we've seen it, I feel like so many times in this playoffs where people or teams will get down there, and they feel like they really have to get something going or make something shake, and they go for it on fourth down. They're easily in field goal range. and just I guess it kind of speaks to McDonald's game plan as well. Just kind of getting points where they can. I feel like they knew that they were the better team coming in. They were going to have the dominant defense, so just getting as
Yeah.
many points as you can on the board early was I feel like a big part in just them kind of establishing themselves early on. Even though they weren't getting touchdowns, they were still. I mean, they had the Patriots shut out until well into the third quarter, maybe even into the fourth. I can't remember when the Patriots finally scored their first points, but yeah,
Right.
just just very methodical. It felt like very calculated stuff. And like you said, Sam Darnold, he didn't have the greatest game of his life, but he did exactly what he needed to do to get his team to win. Is like take care of the football, not try too hard to force stuff and make it about him because he knew he had an all world defense like he's been having this whole playoff. So really really great stuff from him, and I feel like that's maybe why. It felt like the Patriots never really got into gear. Like maybe they were just waiting for Sam Darnold or the Seahawks in general to make a mistake to give them the ball like they've had so many times, throughout this
Hmm.
playoffs, like with Stroud throwing so many picks and Herbert not having the line and some of those games that they've had, like the other team has kind of given them the ball and they've kind of just, capitalized on those opportunities. And it almost felt like
Hmm.
the Patriots were waiting for something like that and it never came. And, by the time they just started trying some stuff, it was way too late.
Right.
But that kind of brings us to the quarterback here in Drake May. 2 interceptions, a fumble on the day,
Tough.
capping off a playoffs that I'm sure he'll want to forget. I mean, he's incredibly young, but eight total turnovers in the playoffs. Really just looked uncertain from the beginning. Took 6 sacks too.
Yeah, I was trying to look up that stat. I was like, he took a lot of sacks as well. And I mean, I think this kind of like vindicates like everybody that was talking about their. And I know there's going to be people that listen to this that are like, oh, I'm tired of hearing about their weak schedule. Like,
Hmm.
no, this was the epitome of like your weak schedule and your weak playoff run. Like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of tired of people like putting that to the side and saying, oh, we can't hold the schedule against them. Well, we kind of can because like when they come up against a team that had next to no weaknesses, like their special teams were great, their defense was historic and their offense was really good. Like
Yeah.
there's no kind of like what you alluded to. They were waiting for Sam Darnold to like throw the game away to them, and he wasn't going to do that because he's
Hmm.
matured and he's a better quarterback than CJ Stroud. I would say he's even a better quarterback as of this moment than Justin Herbert, and obviously a better quarterback than Stidham. And so, like, those are the quarterbacks. Like you, all three teams that the Patriots played in the playoffs had like blatant flaws. Like they
Yeah.
were really good teams on one side of the ball, but then whether it was special teams or the quarterbacks or offenses in general, they had like huge flaws and they would capitalize on the mistakes that they had. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to fault the Patriots and be like, "Oh yeah, we're not going to go to the Super Bowl because it was easy." Like we shouldn't be here, guys. So like let the other
Hmm.
teams play. Like no, you beat the teams in front of you. They just happened to
Right.
be like really easy teams. Like I don't know if we talked about it on this podcast. I think we did mention it. Uh, they played how many teams and like their coaches got fired this offseason?
Yeah, like 8 or 9 or
Like
something.
8 or 9 teams and their
Bunch of
coaches.
backup
So
quarterbacks and yeah.
yeah, so like Drake May built his quote unquote MVP season. And I'm not saying Drake May is bad. I think he's going to be really good. I think he had a good season for a second year quarterback,
Mm.
but he built an MVP resume on the backs of like teams that were in utter chaos that ended up letting go of their head coaches. Like,
Yeah. No, I
I mean
think
that just goes without saying. But so I'm just I guess I'm just kind of ranting at this point. But I'm just tired of
no,
people being
I
like, it's not the schedule. It's like, yes, it is. Like you guys are ahead of schedule because of the schedule you had this year.
yeah, I think
If that makes sense.
it's a point really well made actually. I think you hit on a lot of good stuff there. I think that this is really the first complete team that they've played in the playoffs, and like you said, it kind of vindicates what a lot of people have been saying. Like, once they run into a quote unquote real team, even though that statement in and of itself may be a little bit disrespectful to not just the Patriots but the other teams that they've played as well. But the teams that they played so far in the playoffs weren't really playoff teams. Like their defenses were obviously playoff caliber, but their offenses were just kind of turnover machines or just, backup quarterback and just not what you'd normally expect. And once they ran into a Seattle team who is actually pretty well rounded with a all world defense and a pretty good offense to boot, they kind of got exposed. And I think that if more than likely if they would have gone up against a normal AFC with, some of the other teams that were in there, they probably would have gotten bounced a lot quicker than they actually did. And like you were saying, it's not their fault because there's, you know, you just play the teams that are in front of you. But I think a lot of the hype and the Patriots are back verbiage that's been thrown around the last several weeks, I think would have been a little bit more calm with some better teams in there that would have been in there with a normal AFC. And yeah, I think that the Patriots are definitely going to be around in the AFC. Drake May is going to be good for quite a long time. I think he's going to have a really good career. But like you said, he kind of built this MVP resume of playing teams under 500 and defenses that are just kind of not the greatest in the NFL, and he's kind of been exposed in these playoffs, I would say. And it's not all his fault. Like some of his the left side of his line has struggled a lot this playoffs, which we'll get into in a second. But he just, like I said, he just looked uncertain from the beginning. Like there were several times where like you could tell like he kept dropping back really, really far, like 5, 6, 7 step drop backs there. And you
Yeah.
could tell that he had something, but he would just he would pump fake or he just looked like he was hesitating a little bit. And when you watch football, you kind of have a mental clock of like, all right, the ball needs to be out or it's going to be a sack. And you could tell that
Mhm.
there was like that split second where he had just enough time to get it out, but he just wasn't firing it. And then he would end up getting sacked or just it was kind of a broken play at that point. Um,
Mhm.
so maybe the moment was just a little bit too big for him. Maybe he was trying really not to turn the ball over, but yeah, just a tough look for Mr. Drake May, and he'll come back and be better more than likely. But moving on to the offensive line, Will Campbell getting absolutely drug online after the game, dude,
As
allowing
he should be.
14 hurries,
Yeah.
several sacks, just getting dominated on that left side, most in Super Bowl history. Yeah, number 4 pick, had a pretty good season before he got hurt. He's
Mhm.
he's come back, maybe not 100%, but he was basically a revolving door on that left side. Left guard was not great either, also a rookie.
No. Yeah, both of them. Yeah. I don't know what they were thinking. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they were the best options. Obviously, that's why you put them out on the field as starters. But like 2 rookies on the same side that were like the epitome of their struggle was like really like painted when I don't know what quarter or when it was during the game, but one of the
I
defensive
know what you're
linemen
talking
from
about.
the Seattle Seahawks literally took the left guard and he just shoved him straight back into May, grabbed him and drug May to the ground while still getting blocked by the or quote
Yeah.
unquote blocked by this left guard. I was just like, yeah, if this is gonna happen, like this game's kind of over. And a lot of the Seattle Seahawks defensive players were saying that in the post game interviews. They were like, yeah, we kind of got a sense that we had this game in the bag like in the first quarter. And I'm like, ooh, that's just like add insult to injury. But the one thing I will say to kind of defend May is like we watched the Super Bowl last season where Patrick Mahomes literally looked like this for an entire Super Bowl because
Yeah.
of the offensive line. So like if
That
you're not
Bucks
getting
game
protected.
several years ago too, same thing.
Exactly. So, like, when you're running for your life, which I think is kind of the surprising thing, like, Josh McDaniels was not dialing up any, like, bootlegs, like,
No.
not a lot of, which a lot of people are speculating that Drake May was more hurt that he let on. But I'm not sure how true that is. I haven't seen any reports about that. But that's the only thing I would give May in this situation is like maybe he didn't get to play at an MVP level because I mean, like you said, Will Campbell was just letting everybody in. Like if he was a bouncer at the club, everybody's walking in. Like
Yeah.
he wasn't stopping. He wasn't stopping nothing. It was, and I mean, rightfully so. Like the, I guess maybe not the hate, but just kind of the ridicule he's getting. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, dude, you're
he's
bad at your job. Like it's kind of warranted at this point.
he's been featured in a lot of memes for sure. And when you
Definitely.
have some clips out there, like there's one clip of him when he was still at LSU saying, if you're a bad lineman, you
Saw
might
this.
work at Amazon. If you're a good lineman, you're gonna get picked in the top five. And everybody's making Amazon picks and memes and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And then when he gets drafted, he's like, "I'll fight and die for this team," and everybody's like saying, "Well, well, must be dead or whatever." But
Oh my
yeah,
word, yeah.
poor guys. And a lot of people are saying that because he has short arms, he needs to be moved inside, like to left guard. But Vrabel
Yeah.
came out today and said that they're not doing that. So they got to figure
Really?
something out because May's not going to be able to run for his life back there like some of the quarterbacks in the NFL do. But
Yeah, I mean, like, we'll give him the benefit out of the doubt. Like, this was his rookie season, so, like, and then, I mean, Seattle's defense, like, they just got dogs on that defense, and so, I
yeah,
mean, I think they would have made a lot of people look really silly, but, I mean, still,
yeah.
it's gotta get better than that. There's really no, like, if it gets worse, then they're gonna have some problems, but the only way is up, I guess, from this situation, but
Yeah.
still pretty bad.
Yeah, still technically ahead of schedule, so still got a little
I
bit of
guess,
time.
I mean, it's
Um,
true.
Moving back over to the Seattle side, obviously, Darnold didn't win Super Bowl MVP. That went to Kenneth Walker. It was a little bit unfortunate he couldn't get his touchdown there at the end. But how about Sam Darnold and the story that he's had in the NFL? Really, throughout his career, he's the first quarterback to win a Super Bowl on his fifth team, which is absolutely wild stat. Yeah, just a few years ago, if you told me that Sam Darnold would be in a Super Bowl, leading a team to a Super Bowl, I would have thought you were crazy. So just an absolute
Yeah,
crazy run from getting drafted to the Jets to going to the Panthers, going to, the school of Kyle Shanahan over there, in San
right.
Francisco, being on the Vikings, winning 14 games, and now finding a home in Seattle finally where he's appreciated is quite the road, but couldn't be happier for him.
Yeah, same here, man. I wouldn't say he's been one of my favorite players, but I've
No.
always liked how he's carried himself. He's a super humble dude, and
Yeah.
like someone was kind of making the comparisons between like him and another quarterback in his draft class, Baker Mayfield, where Baker's one of those dudes too who's been like cast aside, like everyone counted him off, thought he was washed, this, that, and the other, but he's come back and he's turned himself into a franchise quarterback as well. But he did it differently. Like Baker's out to prove everybody wrong. Like basically, like if he ever made it to a Super Bowl and won it, like he'd be in all the interviews being like, "This guy doubted me, this, and this, and this." Where Darnold's different. Like he probably had the right to say all those things that Baker probably would have said, but he was just like, "No, I knew I was this good. It just took me some time to get there, and I just believed in myself. My parents believed in me, and so I just kept grinding, kept going." And he was like, you just root for guys like that, guys that are humble, guys that, really care about football, guys that just want to get better. And, thankfully he never gave up and never let those years as a Jet really tear him all the way down to the ground. He knew deep down inside that he's a good quarterback, and he is. Like, kind of back to the games. Like, a lot of people were calling that NFC Championship game like the actual Super Bowl, and after watching this one, I would say that's a pretty good a thing to say. And he balled out in that one. Like if he played how he did in the Super Bowl against the Rams would have been in the Super Bowl. But I mean, Darnold played at an MVP level in that game against the MVP of the league, and yeah, I'm just happy for him after all this time. Dude, he went Jets to the Panthers to the Vikings, or he was with San Fran to the Vikings to the Seahawks, winning a Super Bowl. Like just a crazy, crazy story. I mean, there's some people that have made some crazy comebacks, but I don't think anything like this to this level. So really, really happy for Darnold, and just a cool story to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the mental toughness it takes to get through all of that as a professional athlete is really, really impressive just because when you're on the Jets and the Panthers and you're playing for them, like the amount of ridicule that you're getting, not just from your own fans, but like around the league, like you're literally just the laughing stock. When you're the quarterback of those two teams in particular, where it's just, they're lucky to have 4 or 5 wins on the year max. Like obviously the Panthers did a little bit better this year, but just not great stories. Um, I'm sorry, franchises to be a part of and to come out of there and be a backup for a little while and just kind of keep the faith, keep believing in yourself that you might be able to get on a team and be a starter again. And then obviously, you're going to the Vikings, you finally have a good year and they still don't want you. Like that's, pretty wild as well. So, yeah, like I said, just super happy for him. His teammates love him, which I said several weeks ago when guys were backing him. I think after he had a tougher game, just, guys want to be this is kind of applicable for all walks of life and all people. Like you want to be around people that believe in you and that believe that you can be good and that you can perform to a good level. So I'm glad that he's found that in Seattle, and more than likely he'll be there for this foreseeable future. So um last couple of things we'll touch on here. Super Bowl MVP, we have touched on that a little bit so far. Were you okay with Kenneth Walker getting it? I know you said that you were fine with him getting it if he got the touchdown, but did you think Myers deserved it, or did the punter deserve it, or somebody on the defense?
Dude, I low-key thought the punter as well because he had 3 really, really good
Yeah.
punts, like, all within the 10-yard line and, like, in much needed situations, like, dude was balling out. Uh, I think it would've been cool if Myers got it. I can see why they gave it to Walker because, like, who's gonna give, Super Bowl MVP to a kicker? Walker actually had a really good game. He was a big reason why they won the game. But at the end of the day, like, their kicker had, like, all the points. And so I think it would've been cool if he won it, but at the end of the day, I don't think they would have given it to him. I'm alright with the Walker one, like, I mean, really, who else are you gonna give it to if you're not gonna give it to the kicker? Like, I mean, Darnold had a good game, not a great game. Again, he did what he needed to do to win the game. But other than that, like, unless you wanted to give it to the entire Seattle Seahawks defense, there really wasn't any other choice other than Walker or the kicker. So I'm all right
Yeah.
with it. And like I said, if he got that touchdown, then like, yeah, sure, definitely. Because that touchdown was crazy. Like he was running like Le'Veon Bell used to when he played for the Steelers. Like he was super like slow, and then he would hit the gap and take off. And he kind of did that on that long touchdown run that ended up coming back. But I'm all right with it. It would have been cool if they gave it to the kicker because just like, I mean, he basically did win you the game. Like, I mean, if he misses a few of those, it's more of a game in the first half. But
Yeah. I
yeah,
would have been completely fine with them giving it to the kicker, even with the touchdown at the end and Walker getting the yards, just because he had most of the points. I think he had 15 off field goals and then another one on an extra point or two.
yeah,
So I would have been fine with him giving it to him. I think I'm fine with Walker having it as well. Every time they needed a big run or just a decent gain on the ground, they were able to get the ball to him in space, and he was able to convert for a first down. So I think that's incredibly valuable as far as how the game was going. And he was getting them down there in field goal range early on. There was mainly because of his runs. So, I'm fine with him getting it as well. It's pretty wild that he's going to be a free agent coming up this year.
yeah,
They'll
dude.
they're more than likely find a way to keep him, but I'm fine with that. Like
Yeah.
you said, I would have liked to give it to someone on the defense, but the crazy thing is, like, it's such a well balanced defense that there wasn't one guy that stood out. Like, you had several guys with sacks, a couple guys with interceptions. One guy had like 11 tackles or something crazy. So,
Mm,
it's cool because I feel like, in soccer, you talk about all the time about, working as a team and it just seems so effortless and everything. But like, that's how I felt watching the Seahawks defense play is just like, they're covering for each other. There's,
yeah.
it's really fun to watch. So it's good stuff.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I guess I will add the only reason I texted you and said maybe they'd give it to the kicker is the dude broke an NFL record
He
during
did
the game. So I was just kind of like
over
if they
200
were
points
gonna
scored in a season. It's nuts.
but also like in the game, like no other kicker has ever had more than 4 field goals in a Super Bowl. And so
Yeah.
when he hit the 5th one, I was just like, are they going to give this to the kicker? Because like, I mean, the dude has all their points. He's the reason they're winning the game. Like not the sole reason, but he has all their points and he just broke an NFL record in the Super Bowl. Like
Yeah.
I could see them maybe doing it, but obviously they went with Walker. And again, like I said, not upset with it, but would have been a cool story to talk about on this
Yeah.
podcast. But
Yeah. Last thing touch on here before we talk about the NFL honors. Where do both teams do you think that they go from here? Obviously
ooh,
Seahawks top of the as far as the betting the early betting stuff for next year as far as going to the Super Bowl, tied with the Rams. Rams actually getting the edge to win the division though, which is a little interesting.
yeah, I
Patriots, I
saw
think they
that.
have the fourth or fifth best odds to go back to the Super Bowl, so maybe a little bit of a rebuild for the Patriots just because they are a little bit ahead of schedule. Seahawks though, they seem ready to go to a couple of these things though. But what say you?
Yeah, I mean, it's all going to be contingent on who they fill in the OC role because Kubiak's
Yeah.
going to um the Raiders. And if they can keep Kenneth Walker. I think they're going to keep Kenneth Walker because like if you're losing your OC, and this is an original take to me, but I heard someone talking about like just because you're losing your OC, you're really going to want to try to keep Kenneth Walker because you don't want too much changing over. Like you don't want a new OC, a new running back, and then maybe possibly losing some other pieces. But they're a young team. Their defense is super young. Darnold's on a team friendly deal, so like if they can keep Walker and bring in a guy that's going to kind of replace Kubiak, maybe not be better, but kind of the same level as Kubiak was, they ain't going nowhere. Like I think they'll be favorites to go to the Super Bowl again next year, like you just said in the betting markets. They're second or first. They're first in the
They're tied for first with the Rams to go to the Super
gotchas.
Bowl, which doesn't
Okay,
really
and
make
then they're
sense
sec.
because they're in the same
Yeah,
conference. But whatever.
right, and then they're second in their division. That yeah, I don't know how that works. I'm not. Neither of us. I don't know if you do, but I don't bet at all on anything. So I was like, I don't know what these numbers are. Uh, but the Patriots. The biggest thing is their offensive line. Like I think their defense is really good, and their defense is a big reason that they made the Super Bowl because like they were the ones getting turnovers on these quarterbacks in the playoffs. So and Gonzalez, dude, we didn't even talk about him. He's
Animal,
super good. He
animal,
is
dude.
like he is the only reason that this was not more of a blowout in that first half. Like he had those
Yeah.
two like crazy like he had the one that was almost an interception, and then he had that crazy like deep ball to Shaheed
Mm-hmm.
laying out and tipping it away before he caught it. Like dude's amazing. Like he's super good. So their defense is good. Drake May's only gonna get better if they can fix their line and just some of the running backs make like Travion Henderson if he makes some strides in the offseason. Like I think they're kind of set. They Diggs is getting a little older. He's came out after the Super Bowl, said he wanted to be a Patriot still. So
Well, he's going to
maybe they can
jail,
get it.
so
Yeah, that's that's true. He's gonna say whatever he
they moved
can,
back
but
his court date past the Super Bowl just so he could play in it. And now, you know. But anyway,
what an idiot, dude! What an absolute idiot. But yeah, I think the Patriots are gonna be right there. But I just looked up their opponents for next season. Obviously, they play the Bills twice.
bro,
But they play
it's a
like
gauntlet next year for
yeah,
them.
they got the Bills, Denver, Green Bay is going to be good. Raiders might be better. I mean, they lost to the Raiders this season. Um, Miami's kind of an unknown. Minnesota's kind of an unknown.
I think they
Jets
play
aren't
the
good.
Chiefs in there, and they got
Yeah, they got
several other
Chiefs,
teams.
Chargers, Seahawks, Jags, Detroit, Bears, like, and those are
Yeah,
their
dude,
away.
all those
Those
games are gonna be
those are their away games. Like their home games are kind of like all right, like
just
Denver's
the
going to be hard.
division.
Bills will be hard. You could beat the Packers, beat the Raiders, Miami, beat the Vikings, Jets, beat the Steelers, but their away games are like
Yeah.
dog.
Well, I mean, we've talked so much about the Patriots and their schedule and how we didn't think it was legitimate. And at least in my opinion, it turned out to be that way. They finally ran into a well balanced team and
Right.
got beat. But if they turn out next year and win 12, 13 games with that schedule, like you can consider me impressed at that point. Like it's going to be
Yeah,
against
for real.
some real squads with real quarterbacks and real defenses. Some of those teams for sure. So, all the Patriots fans that are whining that everybody didn't think that they were legitimate, if they do this again next year, then we'll see. But I feel like the AFC is like the Patriots caught a good year, like we were saying, with everybody kind of being down. And we've talked about
Yeah.
some of the other teams in the AFC, maybe not necessarily capitalizing. Bills. But I think the AFC is going to be back to being really strong next year, at least with some of the household names that we're used to seeing in there. And there's no guarantee. Like, everybody's like, oh, Drake May is so young. He's going to get back to another one. It's like we said this exact same thing about Burrow in
Yeah.
21, and he hasn't been back to the playoffs maybe one time since then. So,
Right.
there's other like Cam Newton only went to one. So there's guys like that are just like, oh, he's going to be around for ages and he's going to be the next this and the next that. It's like there's really no guarantee in football. Like the
No.
windows are so small. There's so many good teams that can knock you out on a crazy game, even if you have a world beater. So you really, as good of a team as you can build, like you still gotta have the right plays go your way and still kind of catch lightning in a bottle, no matter how good your team is, as far as getting that mojo at the right time and everything. Because I mean, Indy looked like they might be going to the Super Bowl, 10 weeks into the
Yeah, man.
season, and we saw how that turned out. So there's so many
Yeah.
different variables, so you never know. But they've got they've got the coach that can kind of take them there, and May's gonna be good for a little while. I don't think this is maybe not a crazy take, but I don't think that everybody's like wants to crown him as elite, but like every time that he played a good team, he completely wet the bed. Like so many turnovers, fumbles, interceptions. Like I'm gonna need to see a lot more than putting up 5 tutties on the Jets to putting him in that elite category. We're actually having a pretty good debate about a top 5 to 10 quarterback in our little party over here. It's getting pretty spicy. But
Oh yeah.
Seahawks, I think that they're gonna be in the conversation again. It's like I just said about the Patriots. It's gonna need it's going to take a very specific set of circumstances to get them back to the Super Bowl as well. Obviously, they've got the Rams sitting there. Rams have 2 first-round picks in this coming draft, which is going to be nuts. The Rams, I mean, they're set up, dude. Like they're
Yeah.
Stafford's coming back. They just re-signed their GM. McVay's there. Like all their key pieces are going to be there. They draft extremely well. So they're going to be something to be reckoned with for sure. And then several other teams in the NFC. You probably think that the Eagles are going to be back there. I hope my Cowboys are in the mix if we can get our
That'd be
defense figured
nice.
out. So there's just several other teams just kind of sitting there that are, would be impeding to the Seahawks. But I wouldn't be surprised if they got back there. Their coaching is obviously incredible. What McDonald's done. And defense wins championships, obviously. So if they can keep that core
Does.
group intact, give them a good chance to get back. So
Yeah. Now we wait till September.
yeah, 8 months off, basically.
8 months off. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Moving on to a little NFL honors talk. We'll kind of run through this relatively quickly, except for the most valuable player award. We'll start off with that one just because it's the biggest one. Most valuable player did go to Matty Stafford. Won it by just a couple votes, basically ended up being. But very, very, very glad that Matt Stafford got this award, especially with how Drake May ended up playing in the playoffs. That would have been a pretty
Dude, for real.
fraudulent MVP, especially since Matt Stafford, they were pulling out all the against the Seahawks stats, and he threw for like 900 yards and 8 tuds against that Seattle defense. So
Right.
I think that's incredibly impressive, and I'm very glad that he won the MVP award.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I thought he should win it. I thought just strength of schedule alone, he should win it. Some people are trying to cry a river and say that Drake May was doing more with less. And like, sure, if you look at the teams, like Drake May doesn't have Puka Nacua or Devontae Adams or whatever, but and then they wanted to pull out like common opponents, and Drake May had a better QBR or whatever. Like, dude, just go to the NFC Championship game and really twice when Matthew Stafford played, obviously the eventual Super Bowl winning Seahawks, and dude, just dicing him up, dude. Just how good this guy is. And everyone's kind of just like, oh, this is a legacy, kind of like MVP, whatever. They gave it to Stafford
No,
because, like,
dude.
I'm like, no, they gave it to Stafford because he's the better player. He had better or comparable stats to Drake May against better competition. He played in the best division in the entire NFL this season. And so,
Yeah.
like, if you want to sit here and try to tell me like all these like advanced stats for Drake May, this, that, and the other, it's like, no, I don't want to hear it. Like, they got it right. They got it right. And like, sure, it was close or whatever, but like it was Matthew Stafford's the whole time. Like, I mean, j- just miss me
Dude,
with all that advanced
if
metric stuff, dude.
if May
Like,
had
I
to
don't care.
play defenses the caliber of the Seahawks, which he would have had to
Yeah.
play if he was in like that the Seahawks division, like Stafford would have had to, he would have been like I don't mean to tear the guy down constantly, but like just the turnovers that he's had in the playoffs against good defenses, I don't think that he was going to be putting up the kind of numbers that he put up this year if he was playing
No.
those kind of defenses on the regular like Stafford was. So I like Drake May a lot. I think he's the most likable player on the
Yeah, me too.
Patriots.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah,
I felt
I
bad for
don't
him, to be honest.
I
Like,
did too. Yeah, he's a good
I
kid.
like he's a
But
good guy. Said all the right things after they lost the Super Bowl.
yeah,
I
but the fact
really
that
like
I
him.
feel like this was even much of a debate was kind of I feel like disrespectful, but I just feel like it's
Yeah,
so clear and obvious, but it is what it is. So I'm just
it
glad
it is what it
Maddie
is, I
won.
guess.
Maddie,
Yeah,
you think
me
he's
too.
a solidified Hall of Famer now? I thought he was beforehand, more than likely, but I think this definitely puts him in there for sure.
I think this definitely like I'm on the side of yes, this does. If he got this and then another Super Bowl, like 1000%, and he's coming back next season, thankfully, and they're only going to be
Announced that at
better.
the award show, which was really cool.
Yeah, yeah, he said that like with his daughters up there. That was a cool moment. But um, dude, they're gonna be gunning for another Super Bowl, and if you can get one more before it's all said and done, that will like for sure put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Definitely, like no debate. Which I
He
mean, we'll get into it. Obviously, it's not a surefire thing to get in, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
yeah. Yeah. He doesn't quite have like the Pro Bowls and the all
No,
pros that you would like to see for a guy that's a Hall of Famer, but I feel like we've kind of learned over the last several years the Pro Bowl is kind of fake. And you can't
yeah,
really expect him to get to all pros when he was playing for the Lions all those years, but um
right,
still though he's thrown for over 60,000 yards. Like he's been the passing yards leader a couple times. He's an MVP, he's a Super Bowl champ. Like you just look at his body of work once he got onto a real team. I just think it's
yeah,
incredibly impressive. So
yeah,
yeah, I'd put him in for sure. Moving
definitely,
on.
definitely,
Offensive Player of the Year, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett. I don't think those were really up for too much debate. I think McCaffrey was in there for Offensive Player of the Year. Was probably the biggest
yeah,
snub, I think.
yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year was always going to Myles Garrett, despite his fraudulent sack record. Coach of the Year, Mike Vrabel.
Deserved, yeah.
Yeah, I would say deserved, even though, Mike McDonald, like I feel like you could have given it to 4 or 5 coaches this year and been fine with it, but I was okay with Vrabel getting it. I like Vrabel a lot. And just the turnaround that he was able to accomplish with the Patriots, which I think was really, really impressive. Protector of the Year, which is new this year, which I really, really like. Joe Tooney of the Chicago Bears, formerly of the Patriots and Chiefs. Dude, this guy, like, kind of under the radar, but he has had an incredibly impressive career. Like, I don't know if, like, I remember looking at his stats and his accomplishments last year when the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl because he was talked about because they're moving him out to left tackle and everything. But Mans
Uh-huh.
has 4 Super Bowl championships. He's been to 3 All Pros, been to Pro Bowl a whole bunch of times. Like he's just about as good of an offensive lineman as you can get.
Yeah,
Being on
dude.
those Patriots and Chiefs squads in their prime, and then going to the Bears and like immediately making them one of the better lines in the league, I think is really, really impressive. So I was glad to see, them give that award on their first year to him. Comeback Player of the Year, Christian McCaffrey, and then the Hall of Famers, Luke Kuechly, Larry Fitzgerald, Adam Vinatieri, and Drew Brees all making it in.
Yes,
Really, really
sir.
making me feel old because I grew up with all those dudes.
I know.
Kraft and Belichick
Ah,
missing out. I know we talked about the Belichick piece a little bit last time we were on the pod, but Robert Kraft also missing out apparently for the 13th year in a row. So I'm not really sure what they have
crazy.
against him, but I guess they just
Yeah.
don't really feel he's that deserving. But anything to add to any of those guys getting their respective awards?
No, I mean, I think Vrabel, the one thing I was going to bring up that I thought was wild was in the Coach of the Year voting. Ben Johnson got one vote,
Dude,
and
disrespectful, bro.
Liam Cohen came in second with 16 votes, even over like, sure, if you don't want to vote for Ben Johnson, but like came in second, even over like
I,
Kyle Shanahan.
dude,
Like,
I feel
what
like
are
it was
we
a makeup
doing?
award for the Patriots because obviously most people did vote for Stafford. They were kind of like, here you go, we're gonna make Variable the Coach of the Year kind of thing.
Yeah. But that's
I
just like,
don't
but
quote me
I
on that,
even
but
like, I'm all right with Vrabel because
hmm
like he turned that team around like a lot, and like going into the season, it was like this is another thing I have against Patriots fans, but I won't go into it. But going into the season, you could even name like anybody on their team other than like Drake May and like the guy they just drafted from Ohio State. And so
yeah,
like he took that team and like say what you want about their record. Like, yes, I realize it's a real thing and you play who's in front of you. So like I'll give him that. But like he took their team, turned them around, and like even though it was semi lucky, like got them to a Super Bowl. Like that's still pretty impressive.
yeah,
So I can understand Mike Vrabel, but like to have Liam Cohen, like sure, you turn around the Jacksonville Jaguars, but you're out in the first round of the Buffalo Bills. Ben Johnson with the Bears won a playoff game. Kyle Shanahan with the beat up 49ers, dude. Like, I don't know. Just missed me with the
yeah,
Liam Cohen thing. I think he's a great coach. I think Jacksonville's going to be good, but I just don't think second in voting should have been kind of the play.
yeah.
Uh,
Shanahan's always in the running because he always
yeah,
has a hurt team. But
always,
yeah,
always.
I do
Got to
think
get rid of
that
that substation.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I do think a couple of the other guys could have gotten a better shout, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm ultimately okay with Vrabel. So
Yeah.
um
And then the Hall of Famers, dude, totally fine with everybody. And honestly, when I first saw this, I was like, shoot, I might have not voted for Belichick with a lineup like that. I had no idea who was on the ballot to be voted in. And I
yeah.
can see why uh I understand they need to change the process because like limiting
Well,
who gets in and stuff like that, I understand that, but like I can see why now Eli Manning didn't get in. Like you're not gonna put Eli Manning in over Drew Brees, Vinatieri, Fitzgerald, or Luke Kuechly.
I was
Like
seeing something interesting about it. Is like apparently so many of the voters thought that Belichick was such a lock that they used their
they
votes to
didn't,
vote for
yeah.
other people that they thought like would also get in. So,
Right.
which obviously shows that the system is flawed if there's like a one vote for per media member or however they do it. Um, so like you can kind of understand that a little bit more, but at the same time, it's like obviously too many people thought that and ended up not getting Bill in. So, if that
Right.
is the main issue and the main reason for him not getting in, but I do think ultimately it's probably a little bit more of a product of a lot of people that were voting thought that he should pay for his cheating, or maybe it was just a couple of the coaches that were convincing people that he needed to do that or whatever. But
Right.
either way, kind of crazy that the man with how I don't know how many Super Bowls he has. Honestly, 8, I think, 2 as a
I
coordinator,
think eight,
6 as a
yeah.
coach. Doesn't get
Wild.
in first ballot, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So
I think and I could see this. I still think Bill probably should have gotten in. I don't think the cheating thing is something you really need to super hold against him. But some people were
I
saying
mean,
that
if
there's
it's
like this.
legitimate, I would hold it against him, but
Well, some people are saying that there's like this conspiracy. Not even conspiracy, but kind of like they want to put the dynasty in together, so they're waiting until Gronk and Brady can go in, and they're gonna
oh,
put them all in
interesting.
together, which would kind of be cool, but at the same time, it's like Belichick, in my opinion, should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. And if Jerry Jones is in the freaking Hall of Fame, we should have put Kraft in like
Hey,
8 years
hey,
ago.
easy,
So,
easy. Yeah, I don't
so
really know what's going on with
ah,
the Kraft thing. Like 13 years, man, has to be something going on. I don't know what. I haven't delved into that at all, but kind of wild.
maybe the Patriot hate is a real thing and it runs through the league as well. Maybe
Maybe.
that's just it.
Definitely runs through your veins, huh?
It runs through my veins for sure, but um obviously that's a good little bow on the end of a really really good NFL season. Obviously next season hopefully our teams are in it. I don't think my team is going to be anywhere close. There's little hope for Sammy, but Patriots aren't really going anywhere. Seahawks have a good chance of getting back, but until or this September, we'll keep waiting and we'll start diving into some more basketball and stuff with football kind of being over. But that's going to do it for the NFL portion of the podcast. We're going to hop over the pond here next.
Hopping over the pond for a little football talk to round out our Super Bowl heavy podcast this week. Going to start out in the Prem as we usually do with a team that we're usually talking about how bad they are and how much of a laughingstock they are. But as of late, pretty impressive stuff here by the old Manchester United. Last week beating Tottenham pretty comfortably for their fourth straight victory. Nice 2-0 dub and a really dominant display over the Whites over there in London. Really playing their best. It's the best football in the league really at the moment.
Yeah.
Mateus Cunha is really, really impressive. Bruno Fernandes has found his form really, really well. A lot of the new signings just really being able to fall into form, and Buemo doing really good stuff as their striker technically, even though he came in technically as a winger. So really really nice football from them. Some really good goals. Really nice set piece goal. Not one that you'd see from Arsenal. It was a really
Yeah.
nice designed goal. I'm not sure if you saw that one or not, but Man U playing some really good ball. Like I said, just some of the best in the Prem at the moment. And outside of their tie today, they were coming into that game on 4 dubs in a row against the likes of Man City, Arsenal, and Tottenham here.
Yeah, I mean, their interim manager has really turned things around. I think he's going to end up getting the job. Like he's a club legend as well.
Yep.
Like there's no reason that you don't keep him around, especially if he has a team playing this well. Obviously Tottenham's nothing to sniff at. They're sitting six or they're sitting 16th in the league right now, so it's like, okay, you beat them, sure, whatever. But like you said, they've beaten the likes of Manchester City and just some other tougher opponents as well. So really like what I'm seeing. Unfortunately, we're sitting one spot behind them, so we're kind of jostling for those Champions League spots. Even
Yeah.
though we are in a Champions League spot technically because of that extra spot that the Premier League gets now. But would
Is that
like to
going to
see
be
us
a
in that
thing
top
this year
four.
as well? I know it goes from year to year, but is that
Is it a
Prem
year to
again?
year thing? I
It
didn't know
is. It's
that.
based on the
But
coefficient, but I
I'm
think it would
pretty
probably
sure
go to them again, but I'm not sure.
yeah. I think it would too. I think it's like it's based on it's like you said, it's the coefficient, but like there's such a big league that I think it I think when they set it up, it's usually always going to be the Premier League because I mean it's the biggest league in the world. So,
Yeah, well,
but
it's
I haven't heard if they're going to get it or not. So I mean, like I was saying, it'd be nice if we could just get into the top four and not have to worry about that. So,
yeah. Yeah, like you said, I'm pretty sure the fifth one's going to go to them again. It's based on how well your teams do in Europe, like the year before.
ah,
So I remember Bundesliga had it, and that's how Dortmund got in one year, because they were technically in fifth. And then I think it went to Serie A, and I think it's been in the Prem for the last 2 years, I want to say. So,
okay.
more than likely they'll get it again. But yeah, like you said,
Well,
you'll probably want to be in the fourth position instead of fifth.
yeah. I don't know if this means anything, But I'm looking at the table on ESPN, and at the bottom it says positions 1 through 4 Champions League, and then fifth is Europa League. So maybe that means they
Maybe
didn't
not.
get it this year. So the dang, if that's true, then yeah, we would definitely like to be in the top four other than Manchester United. So gotta figure a few things out
Yeah.
coming
Well, I
up
don't
if you're
think it's
Chelsea.
decided until halfway through the knockout stages who's getting it. I just looked it up, and it looks like England is on course for the fifth Champions League spot this year.
Okay,
So
gotchas.
on course, but probably not solidified quite yet. So
Well, there you go, Liverpool. You can make the Europa League then, sitting in sixth.
yeah, dude. They even though we'll talk about them in a second, but even though they had a really tough time early on in the season, they've had some really good run of form in the last 7 or 8 games or so. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
but yeah, you think Man U gets into those Champions League spots and solidifies themselves and kind of gets back into some of the mix of the big time football around Europe?
I mean, I'm gonna take a look at their schedule really quick. Who they got coming up? Why does this not show me?
With them beating
The,
Arsenal, Manchester City, Tottenham, they've kind of gotten past most of the big boys that they're going to see at least in the second half of the season, I would think, because getting us off their schedule, they're probably going to be playing a lot of the teams that are farther down in the table.
yeah. Why is this only showing me one more game that they have? Is there only one more game left? Am I like tweaking?
No,
No, there's
dude,
more than
we're in
that.
February, homeboy.
I know they're playing
Come on
Everton. Why is
now.
it not showing me the whole schedule? That's kind of wild. But anyways,
They
I was
got
gonna look at
Everton,
their.
Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Leeds, you guys, Brentford, Liverpool,
Oh, there we
Sunderland,
go.
Forest, and then Brighton.
Interesting. I don't know if
So
they can keep this momentum going. Like,
very
sure,
winnable
anything.
games.
Yeah, anything could happen. Yeah, those are very, very winnable. I mean, I'm rooting against them, but it's definitely doable, especially with how they've been playing. But I don't know if you can't beat West Ham, who can you beat? I mean,
Man City and Arsenal, no big deal.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
their last two games, yeah, Man City and Arsenal. But Arsenal's giving away own goals to everybody. It's like the Oprah Winfrey show. Like you get an own goal, and you get an own goal.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't
But
know.
no, I think Carrick's done some really good stuff. Obviously, going back to a back four instead of a back three like Amarim was playing has helped them a lot. And it
Yeah.
just feels like there's more creativeness in the final third, and they're attacking, top
Uh
three,
huh.
front three as well. Obviously, Bruno
I
Fernandez giving
agree.
him a lot more freedom, and Mbuemo and Cunha as well. They've really come into form. It just feels like everyone's playing with a lot more freedom, a lot more than they were before. So it's cool to
Yeah,
see them kind of climbing back up. Like I said, I think the sport's better when they're good and up there and challenging and making things a
I
little bit
agree.
interesting for everyone else. So moving on to the best game that I've watched in the Prem so far this year, Liverpool Man City, and a nice Sunday morning slate for us.
Yeah, man.
Battle of two teams that have struggled, been up and down a lot this year. Man City, they're right there in second place, but have drawn when they've really needed to win, and then scraping out draws when they really deserve to lose. So really been able to kind of just, for Arsenal at least, take advantage of that and kind of open up a little bit of a lead there on them. Liverpool, like I said before, came into the game, I think, on a 7-game undefeated streak. Not all of those were wins necessarily, but coming in with a lot better form than they showed at the beginning of the season. Liverpool taking the early lead, or not early lead, but taking the lead first in the 60-something minute, I think, by a amazing Dominik Szoboszlai free kick.
Crazy.
Shades of the Ronaldo free kick where he bangs it in the top right corner when he was
Uh
playing for
huh.
Man U. Really incredible goal there. Man City striking back to equalize things. Pretty scrappy goal there by Bernardo Silva. And then the last minute, Man City get a pen. Erling Haaland converting. Did you think that was a pen, that goalkeeper situation there right in the corner?
I I don't know. I always like to give the benefit of the doubt to the goalkeeper because like he's coming out and he's trying to like stop the ball and like he's closing space. So like there's got to be some leeway with like if the goalkeeper's coming out and like diving at you, like at some point you can't stop momentum.
Yeah.
But I don't
What
know. It's
I
so hard to tell in slow motion because they're you see the other player just like fall on the ground and roll over 3 times and like make it look like he
stupid.
just got shot. And it's like, I
I
don't know what to believe.
absolutely hate this call for two reasons. One, I hate. This is going back to like my playing days and my fan days and every days.
Long
But
time ago.
when there's like a one-on-one with the goalie, or just like maybe even with like a defender, there's like a long ball, or like the attacking player is really like coming hard, like he's coming full speed, and either the goalkeeper is shutting him down, or there's another defender that's coming maybe at a different angle, and he touches the ball first, like not in a manner where he's going to control it and go around, but he just like kicks it way forward just to like
Uh-huh.
get there first, and then like drags his feet or gets taken out by like just, that fraction of a second. And then like there's this big exaggeration. Oftentimes it's a red card. You know, first of all, I hate that with every fiber of my being. Like, just because you get there first and kick it 30 yards ahead of you, probably out of bounds, doesn't mean that you deserve a free kick. Like, what's the guy that's supposed to do there? It's literally like a fraction of a second late. Like, yeah, it's late, but like I just think it's ridiculous. Like, the exaggeration of that, and especially with penalties, I think that's super unfair. And that's kind of what happened here. And then that applies to this situation. Then also on top of that, the the place that he kicks the ball, he technically gets there first, but he kicks the ball out of bounds. Like, the out of bounds line is literally 2 yards like farther in front of him. So yes, he gets there first, but he literally kicks the ball out of bounds, and then like the ball's out of bounds before Allison even makes contact with him. So
Uh-huh.
like, I think that both of the things that I said that I hate apply here, where it's like he gets to the ball first, and then obviously he's dragging his feet and rolling on the floor, and then also he just kicked the ball out of bounds, where he's not going to do anything with it anyway. Like, it shouldn't just like it. Allison didn't affect his shot or his movement towards the ball or to control the ball in any way. Like, the ball was long gone; it was out of bounds before Allison even really
Right.
made contact with him. So I hated that call, you know, for everything, but you know, it is what it is. Man City, obviously I'm gonna come at that as like an Arsenal fan, who's be like, oh well, you just didn't want Man City to win, which is true, but I I hated that. Like, I hate that. So and then
Yeah.
there's that crazy last second shout. Did you see the 90 plus 13 or whatever it was
I did
counterattack?
see that.
Allison was out of his box. Soboslai and
Yeah.
Holland going one on one.
Yeah.
And it was so stupid that the ref just didn't let the goal stand and just been like, whatever, you guys were tugging on um, each other's jersey, and just like called it as a goal.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Right.
Did you see that?
I did see it, yeah. And did they card Slabis? Oh
Yeah, they
my
set
gosh,
him
I can't even
off
talk.
instead of giving Man City
That's
the
right.
goal. They
Yeah.
brought
And
it
I got
back and gave him a red card, which I thought was stupid.
yeah. I had the game on, but I was like barely watching like near the end, especially when that chaos happened. And I watched the goal happen and then didn't really watch what happened afterwards. But I was like, shoot, he's gonna get sent off because like, oh my gosh, he impeded a goal scoring opportunity as the ball's already rolling into the goal. Like,
Which
I don't
usually
know.
they
It
just give
was
advantage and call it a goal.
exactly, yeah. Like, but yeah,
What I
they took it back and gave him a red card. I was just like, this is kind of weak. Like, it's the dying moments of the game. Like, just see
well,
it out. And then it dragged on for so long.
yeah,
The ref was just like, oh my gosh, like the game stopped for like forever. So I'm just gonna
no,
keep it going forever. And I'm like,
literally just
what are we
game
doing?
over. What
Yeah,
I thought was
yeah,
funny about that whole interaction was like, obviously there's like the big through ball. Like, Holland's obviously going to get there first because he's an animal. But like, Soboslai tugs on his jersey first, and then like Holland kind of gets through it, and then like Soboslai gets in front of him, and then Holland pulls him down, and then
yeah.
the ball rolls into the net, whatever, and then Soboslai's the one that was like complaining to the ref as if he got fouled. I'm like, brother, you were pulling Holland down before he even did anything to you. So if anything, he was gonna get the red card, which he did. But I thought that whole
Yeah.
interaction was hilarious. But like I said, this is an incredible game, end to end stuff. Two of the best teams, really the last 5-6 years in the Premier League going at it, despite the fact that Liverpool's a little bit farther down in the table. Like I said, they found
Right.
good form. Florian Wirtz, who we were pretty hard on earlier in the season, he's been playing really, really well for them.
He has, yeah.
Mo Salah, though, he is still like garbage. Like
He's
every
scrubbing
time
it up, dude.
every time the ball goes out there, he's gonna lose it or just like try to force things or not do
Yeah.
the right. Like he just doesn't fit with that team anymore, and it's just kind of because he's washed. And I feel like
Yep.
they're trying to respect a club legend, but at the same time, they just need someone else on that right wing, especially for games like this.
Yep.
So I feel like they need to switch it up. Chiesa came on, he was a lot better, but he didn't come in for Salah. He came in for Gakpo, who hasn't been great either. But yeah,
No.
just tough. But yeah, Man City get a hugely important victory here against Liverpool, not just because it's Liverpool, but to bring them back within relative striking distance of my Gunners at 6 points adrift. So we'll see how the next couple of weeks go. But Chelsea blowing a 2-0 lead to Leeds earlier today. I understand that both teams got penalties. Didn't watch this game, but more just mediocrity from your Blues.
Yeah, super unfortunate. I think we're coming back down to earth after the new manager bump. Leeds, freaking Leeds, dude. They're like one spot ahead of Tottenham. Like, what are we doing? We had 2-0 lead and then we blow it. I'm so upset. Like, and we've gotten some good results since we've gotten this new manager. Like we lost to you guys in the Carabao Cup, but like you guys are leading the league. So like, okay, we'll give you that. But like we beat Brentford and the teams that we're supposed to beat. Like we 3-1 against Crystal Palace. We beat Napoli in the Champions League. But I think like we just come back down to earth and we can't beat teams that we're supposed to beat, and it should just be so easy to beat, but we just let them back in because we get complacent and we're just it's the same old song and dance. Like I sound like a broken record every time we talk about Chelsea on this podcast, but it's just
Yeah, it's
so
really just
true.
rinse and repeat.
It is so true, and it doesn't change manager to manager. Like again, we had a good I think this manager is
Great
promising.
culture.
Yeah, but like we're just lacking that veteran presence on the field that like when things aren't going our way or when we're up in games, like it's like, dude, this is still the Premier League. Like just pedal to the metal, don't let them score, like finish the game off. We just don't have that anymore. Like you said, rinse and repeat. Probably say it a couple more times before the season's over, but yeah, it's just frustrating. And to do it against Leeds, they were like in a relegation battle for a little bit there.
Yeah.
Obviously, they found a little bit of form to hop out of those spots, but
Yeah,
still
a little bit
bottom
of form
feeder of the
thanks to
league.
Brendan Aronson in
Yeah,
part.
he's been
So
balling out.
he
He's been
has
having a good
been.
time. He's trying to find a spot on that World Cup squad.
Yeah, he absolutely deserves one. He's just a week in, week out starter for Leeds
I
at
hope
this
we take
point.
him.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I really
absolutely. I
do.
think he's a creative little player. So which is a great segue into Arsenal Chelsea. Want to talk about this just because we didn't touch on it at all. I'm not sure if you watched this game or even were paying attention, but
Nope.
second leg, Arsenal Chelsea, you guys came in down 3-2 on aggregate.
Oof.
I wouldn't say dominated the game, but you had possession for most of the game. We were packing the box, parking the bus. Like I was like, we don't need to be parking the bus against this
Packing the
Chelsea squad,
best.
especially with the lineup that we were putting out there. We're basically putting out a full strength squad minus David Raya. But I was just shocked to see like from Chelsea just like what you were saying, the complacency with which they played. Like, you've got a spot on the line to go to Wembley. Sure, it's the League Cup. Like nobody really cares about that, but like you've gotten this
Right.
far, you're playing, the best team in the league. Like go for it a little bit there. Like I was shocked to see how complacent they are. And they got to like the 90th minute, still chasing that goal. And there was just like you would have thought it was the 55th minute. Like there was just zero urgency. And again, I think
Yeah.
it just like you were saying goes back to not having that leadership in the locker room, not having a coach who's been there, done that. This guy's fresh off the plane from what, Strasbourg or something. Like
Yeah,
it's
something like
just
that.
I don't know. It's just eh, so many just different like there's no cohesion. I feel like just watching the game, watching the players, how they react, how they talk to each other. There's no one guy that's leading the whole, group, to tell them do this, do that. Like literally everybody's under the age of like 25 there, it feels like. So it's just,
Yeah,
yeah, there's
super
no
young.
no real leaders. And like you said, you just need a Thiago Silva back there that can just rally troops, know what's going on. Cole Palmer has been coming off the bench the last several games. He didn't really provide much of a spark. He hasn't been moving like he used to. Garnacho came on, didn't really get much. I don't understand why Esteval is not starting. I feel like every time he steps on the pitch, he's doing something good, but
I
I don't know,
know.
man. Yeah, just surprised. Like I said, you guys just kind of gave us that one. We just kind of packed the box, got you on the counter in the last second, which didn't really count, but whatever. Get through the final. But yeah, just weird stuff going on at Chelsea right now. And then you have randomly the Club World Cup that you just go out and win. So
Yeah.
I don't know with this club anymore.
No, I no consistency whatsoever. Once we're up, we're gonna come back down. Like again, like I said, it's one of the most frustrating things to deal with as a freaking fan because it's like on paper we could be really good and in the big matches we could be really good, but like at the end of the day we're gonna drop games that we shouldn't. Like we're probably gonna go out in the English FA Cup against freaking Hall. Freaking Hall City coming up
Hull
like
City.
gosh dang it. Yeah, it's
The way you
frustrating.
said that was so funny. Freaking Hull.
Friggin' Hall, dude. It's yeah, it's frustrating.
Oh
I don't think we
man.
need to beat this horse anymore. But
No,
yeah, I was
no.
looking at
Well,
some of the stats and it was just like super inefficient on our side. We had like a majority of the possession. We had more shots on goal and only it was like only two shots on goal and
yeah.
it was so
And I mean,
frustrating.
to your credit, again, I've been on the pod before saying how much I hate Arsenal's play style now, and I hated it this game too. Like ultimate, just anti-football, pack in the box. Like, I mean, it's you want to protect the lead, but like, just the way we score and how we play now is just so like blah. It's just not necessarily fun to watch, but it is what it is. Moving on to a little Serie A action, though. Inter Milan opening up a 5-point advantage at the top of the table with dominating victories in the league. Also scooting through in the Coppa Italia with a nice 2-1 victory against Torino, and then following that up with a 5-0 victory against Sassuolo in the league. So Christy Kivu and company has those boys rolling in the league to set up a nice little 8-point advantage, but Milan does have a game in hand. Milan and Napoli trying to keep pace, but find a little bit of a struggle here. What do you got to say about Milan?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like Milan seems to be dropping games left and right. Napoli's kind of more surprising. I thought they would do better this season after winning it last season. Obviously the race, like we were talking earlier in the pod, like earlier in the season that, we really liked how the Serie A title race was actually a title race between like a lot of the typical names, Napoli, Milan's, Roma's, Inter, Juve.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, Inter's just been good, like consistently, and we kind of thought they would take a step back after losing their manager that took them to two Champions League finals. But obviously they didn't miss a beat with don't they have a
Just
Romanian?
re-upped. Yes, sir.
I was gonna say like yeah, I mean they haven't missed a step. They
Re-upped
got
with club legend, Christy
dude.
Kiva.
I mean they just keep balling out and like they're just a solid club that's run super well. And obviously, it was probably a little premature to think that they were gonna dip, but obviously they're hitting their stride and kind of pulling away from the rest of the pack. And like I said, Napoli like super weird to see them not doing well. They even went out against Como in the cup. Uh was that today?
Yeah,
Did
it
they
was
just
today on
yeah,
penalties,
on
actually. So
penalties, yeah. I didn't get to watch that, so you probably know more about that, so
yeah, I didn't get to watch it either. I just kind of saw the last little bit and saw something on my phone pop up that they're going to extra time or pens or whatever. So I decided to watch that a little bit of that. But I feel like that's kind of notable just because everybody's kind of been talking about Como coming up with all the money and with Cesc Fabregas and Nico Paz, who's I guess he's technically their player, but Madrid have like a buyback clause, which they'll probably activate this summer.
Uh-huh.
So just a lot of noise around them and how they're doing. The fact that they knocked out Napoli, who's the reigning Serie A champions from last year, is really kind of just an impressive feat there, and kind of announcing that they've arrived. And Como are actually sitting in a European spot, outside those
Oh,
top
really?
five that you were talking about with Inter Milan, um, AC Milan, Napoli, Juventus, and Roma. Como's sitting at that sixth spot, so
Dang,
they're
okay.
they're up and coming for sure. So and Napoli, like you said, kind of taking a little bit of a step back this year, still sitting in third in a nice, comfortable Champions League spot as it stands right now, but obviously out of the cup at this point, probably out of the title race, I would assume, sitting 9 points
Mm.
adrift there, without a game in hand like AC Milan have. So not looking too hot for them, but still have a good squad. Still going to be tough to beat, and they're still going to be probably in the Champions League, like I said. But last thing I wanted to touch on was AC Milan. We talk about him pretty often here. Christian Pulisic, apparently in the news. I wasn't really aware of him being rumored out until was it yesterday or today that you sent me that, and I just kind of Googled him
Mhm.
to see if there's any noise about it. And there's several articles about him possibly being on the move this summer, but I think you may have a little bit more about that, or maybe some rumors about it.
Yeah, I sent that to you today, and that was kind of the first that I saw about like club interest. I know that he was keeping things open ended with AC Milan because he wanted to see if they were going to be in a Champions League spot, which they are currently, and it looks like they'll probably end up keeping it. I mean, they're sitting in second right ahead of Napoli, so I would
Hmm.
assume that they would end up in the Champions League next season.
Yeah,
Um,
which is a
so
good
I think
bounce
if they
back after their really bad year last year.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And so like I said, he was keeping it open-ended because he wanted to see what their European prospects were gonna look like. Because obviously when you're playing at that level, you know, you wanna be playing in the Champions League. That's kind of the pinnacle of the sport. Obviously, you wanna win your league too, but yeah, that was kind of the first that I saw about it. And then I sent it to you just because it was interesting. And I know we kind of had a little exchange earlier today about it, but like Arsenal has interest in him, and I'm sitting there just like, "Dude, you already have so many strikers," and I know we both have different opinions on how good we think Pulisic is, but, like, at the end of the day, you guys are already set at wingers. I think I actually
Yeah.
said strikers, but on the wing position, like, I don't know, that just doesn't make sense to me to get Pulisic, especially with the form he's in now. He's not playing very well. I think he's been coming off the bench, the last few games, so I don't know, just kinda odd, and then I saw the other club, I think it was Manchester United or something like that, or and Tottenham was in the mix, but,
I think it was
uh,
Liverpool, was it not?
Liverpool, that was it, yeah,
Yeah.
which that's interesting, I could see him maybe going there, but I don't know, as long as AC Milan's in the Champions League, I think he's kinda done with the Premier League. I don't think he's itching to really get back there, and I don't think
Yeah.
he has anything to prove. I think he's found a home in AC Milan, and as long as they're playing in the Champions League and playing for, you know, Scudettos and on European nights, I think he's happy in Milan as long as they'll have him.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of going back to what we are talking about, when you sent me that, my first reaction was that I didn't want him. Kind of backing up what you were saying, just because we do have a lot of wingers right now on the squad. I feel like we don't really need another injury-prone winger. We have enough of those as it is, and we need a guy that's going to be
Right?
able to play, and he's gonna probably want to start, and we just don't have that
Mhm.
position available on either side right now, especially not at right wing. I mean, we have Bukayo Saka. He could play left, I guess, but we got Martinelli, we got Eze that can play out there, Trossard, who's a good depth piece. So I just don't know
Right.
how he would fit with our team currently. And beyond that, I'm just like I told you, I'm not sure. I feel like he's kind of peaked, like not because I don't
Mm,
think he can still produce special moments, but I just feel like we kind of know what he is at this point. And I feel like a big part of his story the last couple of years is just the injuries. And I don't really want to take something
yeah.
like that on. But if he can stay healthy, you mentioned Liverpool, and I mentioned earlier about how Salah likely this is going to be his last year. Like
Right.
that right wing might be opening up for a Pulisic to slide in there. So that could
Uh-huh.
be super interesting if he could find some form and find some health, dude. Like goodness gracious, he's always out of the lineup. But yeah, I can see Liverpool a lot more than I can see Arsenal. But ultimately, I do, like you said, I think he will probably likely stay in Milan. I don't see them having a big reason to get rid of him. I think that they would harken back to, especially at the beginning of this year when they had Leao and Pulisic playing on the field at the same time.
Uh-huh.
They looked really, really good. So we'll see. But we need him healthy for that World Cup, man. Come on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and to be fully transparent, I have not been keeping up with European soccer as much, just with like the NFL season, and then obviously diving into college basketball the last few weeks. I have not kept up with it as much. Like I saw that he had fallen out of form and he wasn't playing much, but then I was seeing some things that was kind of like he wasn't playing and he wasn't injured and like so there it looked like he was
Yeah.
kind of like I don't know. I was just like really weird and kind of concerning to see that he was on the bench
Yeah.
even though he was healthy and stuff
I
like
think
that.
he had maybe a couple disagreements with where he was playing. I don't think Allegri necessarily wanted to play him on the right.
Uh-huh.
Maybe they were trying to float him centrally or something, so I'm not necessarily sure about that. But I know Allegri's a really, really good coach. I mean, he has all
Yeah,
those
he is.
titles from Juventus days and stuff. I think that was a really, really good hire on the part of Milan. But
Mhm.
um, yeah, I know right now he is hurt, so he's trying to get back.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely need him healthy. The only way I could see him like I guess I would ask you, I know you guys really I mean, you got Gilchrist, and he's gonna take, steps up, like, but would they even, like, possibly see, um, Pulisic as, like, a goal scorer instead of a winger? Like, that's the only way I could see them thinking they need him, right?
Possibly, but I mean, you need a bigger guy up top, and
Yeah,
we have
he's too
Havertz
slight.
behind Gyökeres technically. Um, we have Marino has been playing striker for us, and those guys are some bigger dudes. So I don't think that they would
Yeah.
necessarily go that. And in the Prem, you need a
You
bigger
need that,
guy up
yeah.
top. You can't play with little 5'10", 5'11" Pulisic in there.
And, like,
So
yeah, and I mean, it goes to show you too, like, someone that we thought was struggling he's doing better now, but Wirtz, like, he's a small
mm,
player as well, and making that jump to the Prem from the Bundesliga, it's like
yeah.
yeah, it's a whole different animal, man, like, I mean, sure, you could be skilled, but at the end of the day, like,
And Pulisic's been there
if
before, so it probably wouldn't be as much of a
yeah,
growing
true.
pains. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, like you said, we definitely need him playing, healthy for one, but also playing minutes and playing well leading up to the World Cup. Weston McKennie's playing well. We just talked about Brendan Aronson played well. So we just need all our guys playing healthy and doing well as we gear up for the World Cup. But with that being said, I think that's a pod, Sammy.
There's the pod. A little bit of a
We
shorter
pre
one.
little
Finally
bit of
getting
a
there.
shorter one, finally, a shorter one, even though the football was a little long. We just
A little
didn't
bit.
wanna let go of that. Obviously, it's gonna be a bummer not having any games in
Dude.
NFL to really talk about. Like, obviously,
No.
we'll dive into some off-season stuff, but, like, it's just not the same when there's not, every week just big time matchups going on in the NFL, but we will wait with anticipation for September when it starts up again. But if you guys could, please like and subscribe on the video. Um, please go to Spotify and Apple Podcasts, rate and review us and follow us there. That would help us out a ton. Until then, we will see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.